All right. Well, this is the first podcast that's actually, huh? What? You stopped me?
I didn't say anything.
Oh,
No,
I
no,
thought
I just said number one, like number one. Like
Nick, it's all fucked now. This was the intro. Did I just pour the drink?
I think you just pour the drink.
I think I just poured the drink, but this was supposed to be a monumental moment. It is. You come in with a little, while I'm talking. God damn it, Nick. This is This is gonna be a strong drink. I don't know what this is. This is whiskey, but I don't know if it's expensive. I don't know if I bought it. I don't know where this came from.
Okay, you really took me for a loop there. I thought you were talking about the podcast. You're like, this is going to be, but you're actually talking about the alcohol.
I'm of course talking about the alcohol.
And then you threw me for another loop when you're like, I don't know what this is. And I thought you were transitioning to the podcast again, being like, I don't know exactly maybe what we're going to do here, but we're going to figure it out. And then
all happened.
The alcohol.
This all happened entirely in your head. This is all you. Yeah. Oh. Mm-hmm. What am I doing here? I brought 2 cans. So I think my math is a little off. What a classy thing to do right at the beginning of a podcast, hey? Pour like a super stiff whiskey Coke into a fucking Gatorade bottle as a G2? Like, what in the hell? Anyways. So this is the podcast. Welcome to the podcast. All right.
The name of the podcast currently is Chewin The Fat.
Yeah, it's a work in progress, except I think we both love it. It's set in stone. That's what it is. We're chewing the fat. It's Xander, PapaFlow. PapaFlow and Xander. Xander, PapaFlow. They really both sound not good. those names don't really go together.
No, it doesn't flow.
No.
Ironically.
They don't PapaFlow. All right. Well, Nick, what are we talking about today?
That's a great question.
I'm throwing it to you because the last time we did this, the one where we did this for 4 hours and I didn't record the audio like an idiot. You had talking points. You were ready. You had a spreadsheet. You were good.
Oh yeah.
You were locked and loaded.
Are we revitalizing that or?
Okay. I wasn't sure if that's like a thing that you do every time. I don't know.
Oh, I would like to do that every time, and I should have done that for tonight, but for some reason I totally didn't. But you are indeed correct. In a previous life, when I was last podcasting, taking us back to 2015, I would always come every time. We did 24 episodes. I didn't like the way I said that. I would show up every time. I would show up every time with notes. And because I found that you wanted stuff to lean on when you didn't know where to go. And it's just funny because like talking is obviously not difficult, but turns out when you turn it into a podcast format, it can feel difficult. And what we're doing is new to me because what we're doing is it's not like we're sitting beside each other filming.
Right.
This is, in a sense, I'm already so used to this because we have spent so much time, especially in this pandemic, we've spent so much time on Discord talking to each other, seeing each other's face with our nice video cameras. And whereas the podcast I used to do, there was 4 of us, well, technically 5 of us because one of us would film, which was not me because I didn't own a camera at this point. But we would go into my basement and there'd be 4 of us just sitting at a table. And so it kind of felt a little bit more like you're almost putting on a show.
Right.
Whereas this, I find already, I mean, we're streaming live and that's cool, but it just kind of feels like I'm just talking to you. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
but personally, like, I don't really know what the like firsthand what the difference is like because I've never done a podcast like of any kind. Certainly not one at like you're talking like a round table. Like everyone's got a mic and so
yeah, that's what we're doing.
But no, this is just we're just on a Discord call. It's nice and easy. But you know, it's hilarious because it's one of those things where like you're like, oh, I want to do a podcast. Podcast is gonna be sick. Okay, let's set up the podcast. All right, I set up my fucking thing and my lights and the camera, and you set up your thing and the mic and it's like, okay, now we'll tweak the layout and get the name tags in, and you do all this stuff, and then you hit go, and it's like, what are we talking about? What are we doing? And that's where I'm sitting right now. So, but you do have from last time the podcast that never was, which I got to tell you, by the way, I deleted it. It's gone. I don't even have it. I don't even have it to go back and laugh at because the whole thing is like screwed up and unwatchable. It's completely green with a weird purple second Xander. It's hard to explain the kind of error that went down. And the audio is it wasn't even actually just messed up where you're missing, but it was like also messed up like the more you watch it. And I just said, you know what? That's like 60 gigabytes. That's like 10% of my whole hard drive. And so I deleted it. Are you mad? I'm sure it's in the recycle bin. I could go get it back.
No. I'm not mad. I did have a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure at some point it'll probably happen where I consume that amount of alcohol again on a podcast, but I don't know. Because there was one moment where we played something back and I was really struggling to articulate basically anything coherent. And once I would get into it, it would sort of be okay. But there was a lot of, I think that type of video would involve a lot more work for you on the back end. But maybe that's what would make it funny. I don't know. But
it was so funny. You were like, it was along the lines of you were like, I really would like to show you streamer that I like.
And I think it's at that point, it's at some point after a while, like you just smile, you can see you're just entertained by me in that moment.
I do miss not having that moment to play back. Actually, I think I might not have deleted that part, and I think I might still be able to retrieve that part, and I should retrieve that part. That part was hilarious. But God, we were so excited to do the podcast. We went 4 hours, and then it's like, okay, let's watch it back. We were so excited. We went right away to watch it back. There's like no sound.
Immediately fucked. And you're showing it to me via Discord, so I'm finding out at the same time with you. Like it's not like you're telling me, I'm seeing it.
I couldn't even hide it. And the first problem was like, it was problems immediately. Like visually, I was completely green. Like completely, there was no other colors. Only the green came in. And then there was like superimposed on top, there was like a giant, just my head. And it was purple. You remember that? It wasn't like the background was on top. It was like a giant, like transparent purple face. So every time I like said anything or moved my head, there's this big purple one on top. It didn't make. I've never seen an error like that ever. I don't know why that happened. And then all the sound was fucked. So that was our first podcast. That was truly the first podcast. But now we have this moment, hopefully, backed up 2 different ways of me just. And you and I, the 2 of us, reliving that moment. So that's cool.
Yeah, well, it's funny because normally with video editing, when you have like something you filmed and you're looking at it for the first time, I don't know about you, but at least lots of experiences I've had where I realize there's problems. You don't notice it like the second you necessarily load the project in. It's something that you come to it as you're editing. You're like, oh, wait, what happened there? What happened there? And that was what was just funny for both of us is that you open that up on, like you're streaming it on Discord so I can see it and just immediately yeah, this is
It was
this is
so
fucked.
it was so instant. It
Yeah,
was
it's
so instant.
very instant.
And the smiles, and we both like drank a fair bit. You maybe more than me, but it's just like 4 hours. We're tired. It's 3 a.m. Or like, you know, we're like just pumped to see it. We're still excited, but like it's late. And then open it up, and just the smiles just like disappeared for like a good 30 seconds. It's like, and then it was fine. And then didn't we go for like another 2 hours after that?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We just
I
kept
think
going.
I don't think I deleted like all that stuff, so I gotta go back and find it. But anyways, enough about the failed podcast. Except for this last bit, which is, do you not have talking points from the first failed podcast?
But, well, actually, I don't know why I said but. I have one point that we never got to that I think is relevant and that you will have no problems talking about, because it's something that's I think you brought up this week.
Ooh.
Shall we? Yeah, like you brought it up on stream.
I think
I should say.
I think that we shall. Shall we?
Okay. So when it comes to, as people, as we are, new to what we're doing, you know, we've only, fill me in, how long have you been streaming, doing stuff for at this point? Making
Just
videos
in
on Twitch,
general,
YouTube?
yeah. we're getting in that 5-month zone.
5 months. Okay.
Yeah.
And I would have started around the same time, currently on a break, but we're coming back.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm curious to talk to you about like what do you think of, because it was something that came up this week on your stream, where you're talking about how you had this plan and you're organized and you have this schedule. And you're like, okay, this is how I'm going to do things, and you're doing them because you presumably wanted to from the beginning, but also because you think it's going to be optimal and it's a good plan. Like you have to have a plan to, you know, I think your general points that you were trying to get to were trying to achieve rather, was like consistent streams, a consistent schedule, and then also consistent kinds of content where you have like different themes on different days and you're doing stuff. And then I caught you this week talking about how that was lessening the experience for you and how that was taking some of the fun out of it. So in general, I'm just curious what you think of your experience and how you would describe it so far with balancing what you want to do with what you think is actually going to work. And sometimes those two things aren't necessarily going to work together. And that's just the funny thing that I think a lot of people who don't stream or who aren't a YouTuber, who don't make content, like they don't think about. They might look at someone who's a Warzone streamer as an example and just think, oh, like that would be great. But it's like, I don't know, maybe that guy hates that game and wishes he could do something else. And even though they're going super hard at it, they're not actually having a good time. So it's an interesting premise to enter this space and want to do things that are going to be optimal and want to do it intentionally and want to do it with a plan and not just necessarily just do random throw random things at the wall and hope it works. But yeah, what do you think of that experience?
Yeah, so in my case, well, yeah, what happened was initially when I first started streaming, right? I didn't think that I would actually like take it seriously. Initially what it was going to be was I was just going to do stuff that I was doing anyways, like video editing and if I was like making breakfast or whatever, I just wanted to take things I'm already doing in my life and just stream them with the equipment that I have around me from, you know, the main gig that brings in money, which is like videography, right? Which just works out perfectly with streaming. I already have the camera, lights, you know. So the idea it clicked and I was like, I just want to stream all that stuff, which means basically you're doing whatever you want, whenever you want. And then after doing that for I want to say about 3 months, the curve went like huge spike in the beginning. And then the more I thought about what it was that I was doing and doing stuff because people might want to see it, it kind of came down. And it didn't like slam down, but the growth went like this and then kind of went down just under that and slowly has dropped off month over month. And that's because as time goes on, I'm trying to actually, you know, I want to still have fun with it, but I'm trying to actually like figure out the audience, and it's too soon for that. I think in hindsight, it was too soon for that. And so the people that really liked seeing me do whatever I wanted in the beginning, they kind of lost interest as I kind of became maybe more like everyone else. This is in my mind. No one's told me this. This is just something that I'm thinking. Right. And so to this day, actually, my most successful month was the first one. And it's not even per hour. It's like total success was in that month, and I started halfway through. So like that month was like almost twice as good as any other month I've had, was the first month. If you really break down the stats. And so then I started to really just like, it started weighing on me, and every night I go watch YouTube videos from, and there's just a big list of channels you can watch YouTube videos from where people talk about their stream experience, and all of them said scheduling and scheduled content, and even as far as scripting is like the key. So then I tried that, and I basically said, okay, instead of streaming at like 2 a.m. this day and 10 p.m. that day and 3 p.m. the next day, and then like, 4 a.m. the day after that. And that's really what I was doing, right? Because it was just whenever I felt like streaming, I would just turn it on, which meant that I was always excited when I was streaming because I was always in the mood. But there was nobody on the other end necessarily to build off the previous stream. So every stream was like a first stream, if you will. Every stream was kind of like building from scratch, unless maybe you were awake and you would tune in, or like Carly or something, right? Someone close to me. But anyways, so I decided, okay, I'm going to schedule everything, and I picked a time, and I picked 1 o'clock, and I picked all this stuff. It was like 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., 4 hours a day. Because I used to stream. I mean, how long were some of my streams before this point? Say we're 2.5 months in. Oh,
they were like the longer ones. They were easily like between 8 and 12 hours.
Yeah, 8 and 12 hours regularly. At least like twice a week, I would do an 8 to 12 hour stream, like twice a week. And then I even did a 60-hour randomly in there, with sleeps. But anyways, so things were just crazy and all over the place and really long. I was thinking if I tighten it up and do 5 days a week during this 4-hour block, that'll be great. And what was really interesting was I found that after the first week, it didn't take long. After the first week, going into the second week, I had people who would private message me, whether it was on Twitch or Discord or even on TikTok. People from Twitch who went to my TikTok would like message me on TikTok. And they'd be like, oh, like, when's the stream on Monday? And like already it only took 5 streams in a row of me saying I'm going to be back Monday to Friday at this time. People already were starting to get it, and they were like waiting for the stream. So I would start every next stream and people would show up. So that advice is completely sound. But I found that I wasn't always ready at that time. So now that people are showing up for the streams, the quality of each stream, and this is all stuff that's maybe in my head, but even when I look back and watch the VODs, or you look at the number of clippable moments or the number of like highlightable moments, it's lesser the more I get into the scheduled thing. So I believe genuinely that the quality of the stream was deteriorating, just being honest. And that's because I'm not actually necessarily always ready at 1 o'clock. It's just that that's the time that I've told everyone I'm going to be online. And then you start missing a stream here. It's like, oh, I didn't stream on Tuesday and we were late on Friday. And like, it didn't take long. So now this is supposed to be the 3rd week of that. And like, I already just scrapped it. I didn't even keep it for that long because I already know that even though that is the smart way to do it, and that's the way that will bring you the most success, it's not the way that works best for me. And so while I am live, I'm not even bringing you as genuine or as quality of an experience as I would be otherwise. And then the other thing too that I'd never done before, but I was also trying to do at the same time, was I wanted to have scheduled days. So it was going to be like Monday is community night, Tuesday is like scary games, Wednesday is indie games, Thursday is games like Overwatch, competitive games, Hearthstone. Fridays are flex days. So maybe we'll do an IRL stream or whatever. Fridays are random Fridays. And even that, which I was thinking, because I know myself, right? I was thinking maybe I give myself enough variety to do all that. That'll keep me entertained throughout each stream. And literally after 2 weeks of doing that, and this would have only been the third week, so it really didn't take long for me to find out, I didn't even look forward to the second week as much as the first week. The first week was cool because I planned it out for that week. I was like, I feel like doing this week. I feel like doing that this week. And then when I did all those things, the next week was like, okay, well, now I'm just like filling in the blanks. And I'm just showing up at the time. And as the streamer, all the magic disappeared. So, yeah. But when you asked the question, you said, like, how do you balance things that you want to do? And how do you balance things that, you know, are going to work? There is a third element to that question that was missing, which is, where are you doing this? And on Twitch... On Twitch, I think it matters more. If you want to be successful on Twitch, it almost matters more to just be consistent, whether you like it or not. You know, if it means you're playing the same game for a month because it's popular, like, play it for a month. And you know, even if you don't enjoy it that much, like, if you care about the success, like the numbers, like, that'll get you there. But then it's going to be on you. Like, how do you feel about it every time you stream? Can you get by? Because, like, there's some people who just, if you just say, like, play Warzone all month, they'll love it. It's like, that's like all they want to do anyway. So it's perfect, right? Someone just wants to play a popular game. They want to be consistent at it. Maybe they have a job, so they're forced to only game during a certain time anyways. A stream can seamlessly just integrate into their lives. But I'm not that personality. Like, I hardly do the same thing every day, other than just sleep all fucking day. So I don't know. It didn't really work for me. But if you're on Twitch, like, that's what will get you there. It's consistency, schedule, let people know what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, so that they could show up and be there for it. But see, on YouTube will go, oh, here's what you're doing right now. We'll take you and we'll put you in front of people that want to see that thing right now. So I feel like YouTube, and this is just a guess because today is literally day one of trying out YouTube. But I feel like YouTube is going to kind of alleviate this issue. Like, if I happen to be streaming at 3 a.m, how many millions, like hundreds of millions of people are going to be on YouTube at 3 a.m? But that might not be the case with Twitch. Twitch might have like nobody on, like, relatively to their peak hours. Almost nobody might be on at 3 a.m. But on YouTube, people use YouTube all the time. They just don't go there for live content yet. And once they do, the viewers will just be on tap, and YouTube will hopefully, right? I'm talking about the future. YouTube will hopefully just find people for you and slot them in by putting your content that you want to do right then and there, that you're passionate about, and putting it right in front of the audience. And that's why we're on YouTube. Even though it feels like I'm kind of erasing 5 months of work, I feel like it's just going to be better a year from now. I'm gonna be happy I did it. So that's a really long, crazy way to answer that question. But that's been the experience for 5 months when it comes to scheduling content, what kind of content you do, you know, and balancing like happiness and trying things that work and different platforms. I feel like I covered a lot of ground on that one. But that's, I don't know. What do you think about all that? Because I did hit a lot of stuff there. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I noticed when I started streaming, one of the first things I noticed was I didn't, like, if it wasn't something I didn't want to do, then I just wouldn't do it. I noticed that immediately. Like something like right when we both started, you did a fair bit of Jackbox streams. And that, relative to a person who's new at streaming on Twitch, that worked quite well. And I knew I could do that, and I knew that was an option on the table, but I was like, but I don't really want to do that. Like, I'm just here because I want to stream playing video games that I'm super into.
Right.
And then that's just what I kept doing.
So I don't mean to interrupt, but I do want to also point out that that first month that I streamed, which was only really technically 2 weeks in May, it was almost entirely Jackbox. It was mostly Jackbox. And to this day, that was the most popular because I just showed up every day and it was almost a guarantee that every stream we would hit Jackbox every day. And that consistency was very successful. And when I got off of that, because I didn't love it every day, just being the host basically. And when I got off of that, I noticed the numbers all dipped. So it's interesting just bringing all that together because you're saying, you know, you saw that Jackbox was working, but it's not fun to do. And I was doing that even though after 5 streams in a row of Jackbox, I wasn't enjoying it and I kept doing it and it was successful. And it's the most success I've ever had, but I never went back to it. Anyways, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt though. But.
No, you weren't interrupting. So I guess I've just decided that, like, I think, because what we're both thinking we're going to do, / in your case already doing, is switching to YouTube. And what I envision on YouTube is that there's always been YouTube VOD style content that I've wanted to make anyways, and that I'm really pumped to make and excited to make, and I have lots of ideas. So I think switching over to YouTube will be fun because I don't feel the gist of it is that I don't feel like I'm going to be at as much of a disadvantage in terms of starting out on, like, I feel like the way I would like to do things coincides more with my personal enjoyment, but also potential growth for the channel. Because yeah, my experience on Twitch, like, I mean, I wasn't streaming that much and I was fairly consistent. I did have I think towards the last month before I stopped, I think I was a little bit more all over the place, but especially when I first started, I was pretty consistent 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I know I changed the schedule once because I decided I wanted to do stuff, I think, all in the evening instead of partially in the day. But yeah, it's just funny. It's like I would just stream and like, nobody shows up. Like nobody that I don't know anyways, that's already within my own circles. And I mean, I guess I wasn't streaming for that long of a time, but it just seems like the difference on Twitch between starting out and like doing what you want and then or starting out and doing exactly what you think is going to be like work out the best. That I guess the point to be made is that it doesn't even seem like if you do the latter option that it even works out that well.
Like, it's not that great. No.
Yeah.
No.
And I've come across so many channels on Twitch where it's people who've been doing it for like over 12 months and like they're at like 50 followers and like they can't even hit affiliate status, and they're like trying to. And it's just like, man, which I know that's pretty rough, but I don't know. I just don't think on YouTube it's going to be like that. And maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, we'll find out. But I think first and foremost, when I do something, the way that I prioritize this and my experience of how I look at it is just that I'm already in a position where I'm making some amount of money as a videographer. So I'm already making some amount of money doing something that I do love. And I think to myself, okay, like maybe streaming or maybe being a YouTuber would be something that I would enjoy more. However, if that's going to be something that I could enjoy more, potentially seeing success on in the future, I'm only going to do it in a way in which I'm trying to proceed in a way that I enjoy. Like I'm not willing to just like do whatever, I don't know, hack I think is going to work the best. That's my attitude,
Right.
in general.
That's that's like a thing that's I mean, to put it in just different words, they say like don't make it a job, make it a hobby, and if it works, it works. But like just that way you're just enjoying every minute that you spend doing it, and you'll naturally just get better and better and more consistent with it. And if the content is like worth a damn, someone will find it, and then they'll find your whole backlog of shit you've been working on, you know, and that's how pages explode. So, you know, like when you look at anyone who's at the top, I don't think that their first day was like, I'm trying to make a career out of this. I bet if you go and ask the top 10 YouTubers and like that are individuals, and you go ask the top 10 Twitch streamers, you know, I bet like 19 out of 20 of those people would say like, yeah, on my first day, like it's in the back of your mind, like it'd be nice, but it's not like this is my job. It's like this is like the fun thing that I'm doing when I'm not doing my job. And keeping it that way seems to be the key to success. In my case, it's like I'm walking that line because I have this window where I have a lot of time I can dedicate to this. And so it's like I'm trying to keep it a hobby, but just full time. And naturally, and I've never done anything like that in my life. I've never like taken a hobby and just went full time with it. Any time that I would consider myself doing something full time, it's always been like a career choice, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, it's been like I've like already kind of worked it up, you know, like with the example of video, like I worked up video for almost a year before I was like, I'm gonna pursue it, you know. And in that year, it was a hobby. Like, yeah, I made like a couple bucks here and there, but it's like an on the side of my main job thing. But this is the first time where I'm like, you know, I can dedicate a full-time time slot, you know, 40 hours a week I could dedicate to doing this one thing, but then I need to like keep it in that hobby zone, but it doesn't really like work that way. But that is the way that you make the best stuff and stay happy while you're doing it. So it is a really tricky line to walk. It really, really is tricky. And I think you're doing it, by the way. I think you're doing it like infinitely more responsible than me. Even in a lot of cases, and maybe this is like weird to say, but like in some cases you're like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I just know because we have a lot of conversations and stuff like, you know, outside of this podcast, obviously. And I think like in some cases, like, well, I'll just like see what happens when, you know, when Alex does it. And you know what I mean? Like I'm not going to just like try streaming my sleep and let people wake me up at 4 a.m. Like we'll just see if that works like through Alex, which is way smarter. And it's smart also to be, I mean, this isn't the only reason you're doing it, obviously, but like, you know, I feel like you're getting all the knowledge I'm getting, but you're also being responsible and doing like good things with your life. And I'm like, you know, you get what I'm saying, but anyways.
I do. I'm not sure that's how like I would put it, or that's not how I look at it, you know?
Right. But it is,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm not saying you do that like maliciously or anything, but I'm just saying like, you know, you're not in a rush. You know what I'm saying? You're not in a rush to stream. No. And I feel every day that I'm in a rush. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, maybe that's a better way to put it. That's a better way to put it.
I can relate to that a lot. Because I don't really know how much we talked about my history, but like you're talking about how you've never switched to something full time instantaneously, and it's always been a build up, and this is a hobby. Like that's essentially what I did with video editing. Like I just oh yeah, that's how I mean more or less, like because I quit I stopped working full time in 2015. I was working part time, and then in the summer of 2015, I flat out quit. And when I quit, the plan had nothing to do with video work. The plan was like the plan was to literally go into super high risk mode, doing what I love. And I'd saved up money in 2015, and found other ways to make things work. And I the plan in 2015 when I quit my job, my steady job where I was working just like a normal person, making an income, paying the bills. What was the plan? Was like all music related stuff. I was putting on shows. I was managing a band, uh, and then I also had like a platform or like a brand that I was trying to sell with that was connected to all of that with the management and the putting on shows. And then in the first year, like I dabbled in a ton of different shit because at that point I had identified that I didn't want to try and pursue a career in music as a musician because I mean, I'm sure there'll be some Chewin The Fat where we talk about the music industry at some point, but I basically just looked at the music industry from the standpoint of playing as a musician and just figured, okay, like this isn't, I want to try and do something that's a little bit more lucrative where there's some baseline where like you can actually like make money. So I was looking at things like tour management, like tour manager, band manager, like booking tours. And these are all things that I dabbled into a little bit because with the band I manage, like I booked a few, or not a few, I guess just a couple like weekend warrior tours, and there were other bands involved that I booked, and then I went on these little like weekend warrior tours with them as well to try and get a taste of that. And I was just doing a bunch of different stuff, and then we also had the YouTube channel going, which was the other thing. We had like a Patreon that didn't do shit, and yeah, we had this
Classic.
YouTube channel going for a year. Yeah, and we had a lot of fun. I mean, we made a lot of content, but while I was doing that, I'd learned how much I love video editing. And then I think in like June of 2016, roughly, if I'm remembering correctly, I bought a camera. And then like I want to say by August, I had made the decision like, okay, like dropping all the music stuff, not putting on any shows, not promoting the music page, not doing the YouTube channel, not doing anything. Like I'm a freelance videographer and that's what we're doing. And when I made that decision, like it's not like I had any clients or fucking anything really. Like I
Right.
just was like, I can do this. And then now here we are. So that, to come back to what you were saying, I felt immense pressure
Rush.
for sure.
Pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, rush, and like we gotta get her going, and
Yeah.
like this has to happen because at this point it had already been like a year of me doing a bunch of other stuff, and it's not like I made a lot of money doing any of the other stuff. So, but having said that, I did gain a lot of experience. Like I don't know, I think tasting things and trying new things and trying to figure out what it is that you actually want to do, like it's pretty undersold in society. Like I think there's a lot of people who would look at Nick Laird in 2015, or PapaFlow, and they would be like, wow, 2015 was like such a waste. And to me it's like, nah, that was like one of the most valuable years of my life because I did so many different things and then figured out what I wanted to do. So now coming from the standpoint of someone who actually like I enjoy what I do day to day, I'm in no rush to like become a full-time streamer tomorrow. So I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I like the idea of being a full-time content creator or YouTuber or whatever we want to call it, streamer, entertainer, guy who plays video games, guy
Right.
who reviews video games, whatever it is. That sounds cool to me, but it doesn't need to happen tomorrow. Whereas in your situation, I would akin it much more to me, like what I was thinking. I think it was November of, it's like October, November of 2016, where I like was like, I'm a videographer. I'm a full-time videographer. And like, you feel that because your timeline is in a year's time. You're going to have to take on a lot more financial responsibility. So the plan is that, as far as I understand it, is that go as hard as you can until then with what you're doing now.
So here's the thing, and you know this, but anyone who, one of the 12 people maybe who make it this far forever who hear this, don't know this, but you know this. So my personality is like, I change what the thing is that I'm doing, like what my career is, like I change it way too frequently. Like I got a 6 to 10 month like shelf life on what my career is. But the thing about streaming that caught my eye is not even fully in just streaming. It just seems like, okay, well, first off, it's a culmination of everything that I've enjoyed, right? So like I've done audio stuff, I have done music stuff. Like you and I, our origin story is like shockingly similar, which we could talk about maybe another time, but it's like surprising how similar it is. But there's the video production side of things, and then you put all that together and you get streaming. But the thing that I'm missing to be able to actually like unlock the key to do anything that I want to is just a crowd of people that are like-minded, that like what it is that I'm doing and can maybe extract value from it, that I can. And it like sucks to talk about this in like business terms, but I'm just being real when I have this conversation. Like, this isn't the only thing that I would get out of an audience, but one of the things you get out of an audience is like you do get a certain amount of leverage, like a certain amount of flexibility to pursue other opportunities when you have this group of people that are like-minded, that just naturally are into the same kind of shit that I'm into, and you can take that with you into other avenues of your life, which you can call that, you can call that being a celebrity. You can call that being like a Kim Kardashian or a Kanye West, which is not like my ideal future. Or you can call that being like, being more like a, probably less successful, but like a Peter McKinnon, who like the people who follow Peter McKinnon, it's mostly people like you and me, it's just like, it's not like Peter McKinnon's some celebrity, but people extract value from what it is that he does, which allows him the flexibility to go do anything he wants to do. And then he just shares it back with those people who are like-minded. And so that is like the tool or key to, I think, for me in my life, being able to kind of continue down that path of just constantly pursuing and learning these different things that I do all the time. Is if I can muster up enough people to come down that journey with me, then I'm always going to have that little like safety net to keep doing that thing. So that's what it is about streaming that's making me like, I gotta do my best to get this to happen as quickly as possible. Because if you miss that window and it doesn't work out, it's like, well, I'll still do streams. Like I'll still do streams my whole life, but I won't be able to just be a full-time streamer when XYZ is going on in my life in the future. That's not happening right now. But yeah, it's, but the thing is, though, is like, I because of that, I do feel like a pressure to kind of try to make this work within the time that I have. But I don't feel a pressure in the grand scheme of my whole life, because the other things that I do that when combined create this stream, I can do those things elsewhere and still have fun doing it, and actually like make money. So I'm not like super freaked out. Like I'm actually already planning for when and how I'm going to conduct, like as a videographer, how I'm going to market for weddings. I had a killer time with you actually at the 2 that we did this past year. You've done more than 2, but I've only done 2. They were both with you. And I actually like it turned my whole mindset around on that. And I want to actually get that going full swing next summer. And so, which I haven't talked to you about or anybody really about. Yeah, so like I have plans like going into the next couple months. In addition to the stream, I want to start working on, like a website that's geared strictly towards weddings. I want to fill up the summer and make a shitload of cash, because weddings are, they're that once in a lifetime event where like money for a lot of people is no object. And that's great for me because I could be busy all summer, which is a condensed set of time. And knowing myself is like, when I'm down to hustle, like that's what works for me. Like hustling for 12 months it doesn't really hit the same as hustling for 4 months. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And making a shitload in 4 months. So, So like I'm actually looking forward to that. And so like financially and in the terms of the grand scheme of my whole life, I'm not that concerned. It's not like if the stream fails, my life's over. Okay. That's this
No.
whole thing that I'm kind of getting at is really, that's the point. It's like, that's not the pressure that I feel, but the pressure that I do feel is like the things that I want out of a stream in my life that bring me happiness, or give me maybe even further tools to go achieve. Because happiness is something that you're always chasing, right? Like, that's not to say like you can never be happy, but like you don't just say you're happy and you're done. It's like you're always trying to get happier, right? And so the thing that the stream can do to help me out with that, I only have a limited amount of time to pursue happiness that way. And so that's what the pressure is. But I'm very fortunate in my life. Like the pressure, you know, it's not the same kind of pressure. Like I gotta make this stream work so that I like get money, so that, you know, like my kid could still go to daycare and the house doesn't get taken away. Like that's like a totally different kind of pressure, right? Mm-hmm. But you know, anyways, but yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the whole thing. But you know, the skill set and like you were saying too, when you go through that kind of process and you like you say it was 2015 or do you say it was 2016? 2015 was your year.
2015 when I did a bunch of different stuff. Yeah.
So, you know, when you go through your 2015 year, which you could argue I've already done that or I've been doing that. It's been longer than a 1-year process for me. But like that's always going to help. So like, I mean, even in like the most direct way, like not every way is this direct, but even like, okay, say, you know, next year pops off for like wedding videography. Well, like live streaming could still be a part of that. And all the things that I've learned, all the ins and outs of streaming that I've learned through this whole time could still help me in that endeavor by like live streaming a wedding. Mm-hmm. So, you know, which is something that I think going into the future is always going to exist and always going to be an option. So yeah, it's just, you know, there's no, and you said this too, like it's not wasted time. Like someone could look at the last 5 months and be like, that time was wasted. And sometimes I've even felt that way, that the last 5 months was wasted because I'm not, you know, like you and I are streaming this to an unlisted link, just being honest. We're streaming this unlisted because there's not much of an audience anyways to watch, and we don't want the distraction of like the odd one person that pops in here and then we, you know, gotta acknowledge them the whole time. There's, you know, it's like there's nothing. After 5 months, there's nothing. And then this is gonna go uploaded to YouTube, and like this might get, you know, 25 hits this month. So, you know, someone might look at this whole thing and be like, oh, it's a waste. But it's like, no. Even this right now, this stream, even the actual failed one was an experience. Like that was a learning thing that you just never forget. And so like you're always moving forward. Even when it feels like you're failing, you're always moving forward, which is very comforting. It's very comforting. And it's you who told me that, and it's my parents who've told me that. And, you know, and now it's me who's telling me that, which is great. But, yeah, that's just the way it is. And I feel like more people need to hear that.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I don't think, like I said, it's an undersold thing. You know, it's like, I don't know, just go taste as many things as you want. Like there's people who will like live and die and they won't have like tried as many different things as I did in 2015 alone, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but for some people it is a bad thing, I think. So
I agree with that. Yeah. Well, especially it depends on the reasons. Like if somebody doesn't go and try 1,000,001 new things because they're content or because they're happy, well then that's, you know, that's great. I would even argue that person's further along in life than I am. But if someone's not doing those things because they're scared to, that's tragic, you know?
Yeah. And kind of living every day in and out, like really not liking what they're doing.
And that's, you know, unfortunately, that's a lot of people, right?
It is, yeah. And it's a weird thing to talk about because I feel very privileged to even be able to talk about it in the way that I do. It's bizarre because
Same here.
it really wasn't that long ago where, yeah, well, and not even that long ago. I don't even have to talk about it like it's history. It's just so many things in my life are just a circumstance of the time I was born and the family that I was born into, you know? So it's not everyone has the agency to just go do whatever. So,
Yeah.
but for the people that do, life is short. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's true. For the record, by the way, neither, PapaFlow nor I are like complete bums in life. We make the time to do this and that, but also do other things outside of what you see.
We sure do.
But yeah, I agree. I wish more people would either have the courage, if that's what's holding them back, to be able to just go for it in life, whatever that it might be, provided it doesn't hurt anybody or, the usual. Or if it's not you that's holding you back, but some external force, like if you could just see it and try to just get rid of that external force. And then, I mean, there's always going to be, it's just a numbers game. There's always going to be a certain amount of people that are just, it's just not going to work. And that's like heartbreaking, right? Like there's always going to be a certain amount of people out there where it's like, you know what? It's just, you're just like in the wrong place, wrong time, living the wrong life. And that's something that can get you down if you think about it too much. But if that's not you and you're just scared because of XYZ obstacle, try to just get one down at a time, At some point here, I went from talking to you, PapaFlow, to like, I'm talking to like the world as if this is like, this is the video like every human's going to see. This is the video, when we send out like Voyager 2 out into space and we got that little like golden record with like, it's got the sounds of like hello in every language and the little directions on where Earth is on it.
Yep.
I feel like this podcast is going to be on a frozen like SD card right next to that. And it's going out in Voyager 3. That's how I feel. At some point, I made the switch in my head. I'm like, I'm talking to the world now. It's like, we check out the view count 6 months from now. It's like, it's just you and I. So 300 or 400 views, but it's all you, but it's all you and me. Anyways, maybe we should talk about something else. Bring the mood up, or talk about something to get outraged at. That's not so sad. Even though that whole conversation wasn't sad, there's a ton of value there. But I made it a little sad. I got a little sad toward the end of it. I went to a sad place. I wish I didn't. Yeah, I'm just being honest. Maybe it's the whiskey. Well, speaking of which, this was a little stiff. Let me add some Coke Zero. Oh, yeah. Took a whole can.
Were you excited when I shared all that new stuff that YouTube added yesterday?
You bumped the Switch up by 3 days, 3 days. So yeah, I was super excited. Those features, by the way. So to give context to what PapaFlow was saying, let me actually pull up the screenshots that you sent me so I could kind of read them off. But
run us through it quick. I thought it was pretty cool because we have been, both me and Xander have been talking about for quite some time about how there's certain things that YouTube doesn't do now that people critique them for. And I think the thing we've said time and time again is that like, but one day that could change and it will change. And these are just, I guess, examples of that actually happening in real time.
Okay. So one of them here, this is Ryan Wyatt, who's, I don't know specifically his position, but let's just say like super high up on YouTube's Twitch department. Like YouTube's live gaming department. What's his role? Is like just pretend he's like VP of YouTube live gaming. Okay, he's really up there.
His title on Twitch is head of gaming at YouTube.
There you go. So he is. He's like a vice president level at YouTube. That's huge. So he's saying we've launched theater mode. So theater mode, chat on mobile, allowing for seamless picture and chat separately. A lot of you asked about this feature. Kudos to the team on launching it. Now, there's two things here that are crazy about this. The first one is that this is a feature that Twitch had that YouTube didn't have for a long time, and now they're level. It's one less thing that separates the two platforms, which YouTube inherently has benefits over Twitch that they will always have forever. They have lots of benefits that they'll always have forever, but this is one of the things that Twitch had on YouTube that is no more. The other thing that this means is this Ryan Wyatt is listening, okay, and that's what we'll see some more. But this was huge. So when Nick sent this to me, I was pumped because this is just, it's that two-parter. Like, as the streamer, yeah, I'm happy that the potential audience, the viewers, are going to have this feature, theater mode, because if a lot of people watch YouTube on mobile, maybe even most people watch YouTube on mobile. So being able to seamlessly watch the stream and chat is massive.
Yeah, just to intersect very quickly, on this specific feature, when Tim the Tatman switched, one of my friends, he messaged me, and that was his specific thing. Was he was like, "Oh, I mean, that's fine that he's going to YouTube, but the app, like, I can't like watch and like have like." He literally specifically said they don't have this, and then now, like, whatever it is, like 2 weeks later, they have it.
Right. Well, but this was also a big deal. I bet they super closely monitored, like Dr. Lupo and Tim the Tatman. Did I get his name right, Dr. Lupo?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah.
I hadn't heard of him, if I'm just being honest. I hadn't heard of him before the switch, but he was a huge streamer who switched with Tim the Tatman, who I actually heard of not even through Twitch. This is the weirdest thing. I heard of, just a quick tangent, I heard of Tim the Tatman because he hosted a Blizzard something or other Overwatch related something.
He likes Overwatch. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, it was when you open the Blizzard launcher, it was like Tim the Tatman was sitting there, and so that was that was my thing. I was like, oh, Tim the Tatman, who's that? But anyways, it's funny how even when you're like the top on Twitch, people can still find you in completely different ways. Like, there's people out there in the world who know, they know PewDiePie as the guy that always goes to the same convenience store. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, there's somewhere, there's like a 7-Eleven employee that sees PewDiePie every 3 days because PewDiePie comes in and buys Slurpees. I'm just hypothetically. And that guy's like, oh, this is like the orange Slurpee guy who likes to mix it with the Pepsi. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always like a new way. It doesn't matter how popular you are. It's just, you'll always, people will always find you in these roundabout weird ways. Anyways.
Yeah. It's like when sorry, I just want to say Elon Musk. I brought up Elon Musk sometime years ago, and my mom was like, "Isn't that the guy who smoked the weed on something?"
On Joe Rogan?
Yeah, and that's how she knew about him, was because he's the guy who smoked weed. As in, he took like one puff or something. But
oh my god, that's so funny. I watched that podcast. That's one of the only podcasts I watched live. Hey.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. I saw that moment live. I basically haven't watched a single podcast live because if I'm going to watch Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan's got incredible guests, right? So I just watch the highlights. Like, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I just watch the highlights? I don't want to watch when they're talking about like walking the dog and shit for an hour before they get into the good stuff. I watch the highlights. That's just me. Because I'm not, when I was working the desk job, I would listen to the whole podcast because it was long, and I just like wanted to get through the day, and I'd have an earbud in and I listened to the whole podcast. But lately I just watch the highlights. But that stream is like one of the only ones I watched live because it was Elon Musk, and it popped up in the newsfeed at the right place at the right time. And I saw him. I tuned in like a minute before he took the joint hit, and then Tesla dropped like 9%. That's like the next minute. It was crazy. Crazy. That was a good moment. Anyways.
The next feature.
Well, but I was saying there's a two-parter to this. So the one part is that for the audience, it's incredible. But the other part is that YouTube is listening, which for me is even more incredible. They're listening and adapting and making changes, and Twitch doesn't. Twitch doesn't. Okay, they just don't. So there's that. I mean, for those who don't know, I asked Twitch to offboard my affiliate account so that they no longer have rights to my brand, my content, my XYZ that I gave them. And they told me, this is a little bit out of context, but essentially when I asked them a question about like, how does this all work, and is leaving burning my bridge with Twitch, like I was asking them very genuinely this question, they told me to get a fucking lawyer and read the contract. That's what they told me. They said, we suggest you find yourself a lawyer and go over XYZ. We suggest you look at section 9, blah, blah, blah. Like, and they basically told me to get a fucking lawyer. So I told them to shove it up there. You know what? Anyways. All right. So there was this feature. This is incredible. Oh, that's not. Oh, we're looking at wrong shit. Let me just 1 second here. This is my personal Facebook that we're seeing here. Scuff stream.
No, you're just going the wrong direction.
That was theater mode. No, it's just for some reason the arrows aren't working. Okay, so customization to the chat UI. Now this one I do want to say I was really pumped about, and then I was like only half pumped about it. Now the pumped about it is that, okay, so what this is, first of all, this is a chat UI improvement so that people can remove profile pictures, change color names, add better TTV, which is Twitch TV, by the way, emotes, via Chrome extensions. Now that's the thing that got me not as excited. This is not YouTube's feature. This is a third-party feature. It's a Chrome extension. So even if I was to add it to make the chat look more like Twitch's chat, which is better, I'm going to be honest, it's better. That's why someone made this in the first place. That wouldn't impact my viewers. They would all have to have the same extension and configure it the same way. However, the thing that does get me excited is that this Ryan Wyatt, head of YouTube Gaming, acknowledges this and specifically says, it's great to see people develop on top of YouTube. So like they're looking at this going, this is not only the features that people want, we can see how many people use this extension while on our platform. We can adapt our platform to natively inherit these features, and we don't even have to spend any money or effort on R&D or like anything. And then we'll just like add it to our site if enough people like this. So I'm pumped because it means they're paying attention, and someone just did the work for them and got it right in front of the toppity top guy. So this is killer. So it's like a half victory because it's not a real YouTube feature, but it's officially acknowledged by the right guy. So that's sick. We've officially rolled out member milestone chat. This is actually a YouTube feature. So celebrating membership streaks. So someone's like, "Oh, I'm a 17-month subscriber, XYZ." That is awesome. That's just more engagement with chat. Chat interaction is the only thing that Twitch has as an advantage over YouTube. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything else, whether you like it or not, and some viewers might not agree with this. Some Twitch viewers maybe prefer, if you're just a viewer, you prefer to just open up Twitch and see the most popular stuff, because popularity is like a half indicator of quality. So if you watch the most popular stream on Twitch, you're going to see something good, right? So some people like the Twitch layout as a viewer, and I get that. Even I like it as a viewer, because when I go watch Twitch, I don't watch stuff that 0 people are watching. But that's the whole problem, because everyone starts at 0 and YouTube handles it a different way. And once everyone gets accustomed to it, it'll be better for everybody. But this is just making the chat features just one step better, one step closer to Twitch. This is something that Twitch already has, and now YouTube has it too. And it's just and this all happened, like, didn't this all happen in a day?
Yeah, he tweeted all this stuff like today or yesterday, I think.
That's so insane.
I want to say it was today.
That's so crazy. Okay, so this is massive. This is something that I was complaining about like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So YouTube, yeah, when you go on Twitch as most people know, and I'll actually just show it right now. I could just show it. It's not like that big or anything, but if I go on Twitch, twitch.tv, we end up right here. We're on the home page. So what we're seeing is, we're seeing some recommended stuff here and there, and then we see categories and this blah, blah, blah. It's a big mess. So what happens is nobody ends up using this. Everyone lands on Twitch and they go to the browse category. This is what everyone does. They go browse, and then right here you see the most popular stuff going on Twitch right now. So for example, if we say, oh, Diablo 2, because I think this came out today, by the way.
It did, yep.
Diablo 2 Resurrected. So if we click on Diablo 2, now we see the most popular stuff, and we see all Diablo 2 streams sorted, and it's amazing. And we can go, oh, this one, and now we're watching someone streaming, right? Well, I mean, we get an ad, but that's the way it works. Now, YouTube never used to work that way, except now it does. So when we go to YouTube, hey guys, I have my thing screwed up. So this guy always pops up. He's killer, by the way, with tutorials to do a stream. But I swear to God, I've given him like 600 views because whenever I type in YouTube, his video pops up in the URL.
Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah, I know exactly what that is.
Yeah. So anyways, now we go to YouTube. We click on gaming. And boom! Doesn't this look familiar? This literally, they changed it. And so now, something that everyone loves about Twitch, bang, it's immediately built into YouTube. Top live games, see all. Look at this. It's just games. Diablo 2, we got there just as quickly. These are all the streams. So if somebody's familiar with the Twitch experience, it's now integrated into YouTube. Yeah. What's different, you ask? What's different about it, you ask? Well, what's different about it is when you land here, what's like the edge? Look at all this other recommended stuff. They can seamlessly work in VODs. They can work in like, and I'm getting a lot of these Some Ordinary Gamers like Muda. I'm getting a bunch of Muda VODs. That's because I've been watching a lot of him on YouTube and he streams. So his VODs are like popping up for me in here, intermixed with live content. They know I just streamed Grand Theft Auto and I've watched a couple streams. So they're giving me GTA stuff. I just uploaded a 12 minutes video. So here's 12 minutes. I uploaded a PT video. So they're giving me PT content. So YouTube's algorithm, I recently searched for Skate 3. So I'm seeing Skate 3 content down here. So they're seamlessly putting all this in together and they're intermixing live streams with VODs. And if you don't know what a VOD is short for video on demand. It's basically regular YouTube content, offline content that you can watch on demand. YouTube is bridging the gap where they're narrowing it down where it's going to be seamless. You might click on something live or something that's offline, and they're going to further refine this process, but they're getting people the content they want to see. And just today, I know I'm going really long on this, but just today, I streamed Grand Theft Auto on YouTube for an hour. An hour. I barely even streamed it. And a guy with, allegedly, I didn't go check his channel, but he was verified. He had the check mark. A guy with 108,000 subscribers, as he proclaimed, pops into my stream because YouTube put it on his page. That happened today. And I was talking to him in chat, and he comes in. He's got the YouTube check mark next to his name, and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "Oh, not too much. How's it going?" And he's like, "What's the stream about today?" And I go, "Oh, we're new to YouTube, and so we're finding a new server, and it's just about newness today. We're playing Grand Theft Auto role play, and this is our character so far." And he goes, "Oh, that's awesome!" And he watched for like 15 minutes. This guy's got 108,000 subscribers. He's just a YouTube user. He streams. But I couldn't find his channel because this is a complaint I do have about the chat, and maybe they'll fix this. You can't click on people in the chat and go to their channel. So I couldn't verify this. But this is what he told me. He's 108,000 subscribers. He's been doing XYZ streams, whatever. But the main takeaway is that YouTube knows that this guy likes that content, and they put my shit on his page, and my thumbnail must have been good. The guy liked my thumbnail and he clicked it, and boom, I have a viewer. That's not even like a crappy viewer. It's a quality viewer. And in 5 months of streaming on Twitch, I've never had that happen to me, not once. And I can check the people who pop up in chat, and I often do. And that's never happened to me, ever.
That's nuts.
That's insanity. That's
Yeah,
insanity.
that
And
says a lot.
we didn't even get through all the tweets you sent me. So I'm so sorry. Do you want to talk about the next one? Because like I'm doing a lot of talking here. Let me queue up the next one. No, this is again super chat. And you sent me like a lot of tweets. Okay, what's this one here? Oh, this is like comments. Okay, so this is about
the replies.
Yeah. Sorry, people can't see this. Let me pop that up. So this is just like literally just random replies on Twitter. So you can go ahead.
Yeah, well, so there's people, because this is another thing that we've noticed is a regular criticism of Twitch that I've heard and you've heard from people who are way farther along on what they're doing. And in fact, mostly people who are in many cases like very successful on Twitch, is that there's not really a line of communication. There's not people, like it doesn't seem like me or you, like we could grind on Twitch and whatever, turn into people who have like thousands of concurrent viewers. And it seems like from the sounds of it, we still wouldn't even really be able to like have access to talk to people. That's what it sounds like, which is nuts.
Well, remember Asmongold?
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah, Asmongold, the most popular, well, perhaps previously the most popular WoW streamer, because he doesn't stream WoW anymore, but I don't know.
He's top 20. He's top 20.
He's top 20. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, he's top 20 streamer in the world. And he's said publicly in a video that Twitch did not even offer him a custom contract, I believe was what he had said, correct? Is that?
Oh yeah, that's absolutely what he said.
Yeah.
Which implies that they're not in a constant line of communication with him, and he's top 20 on the whole platform.
It's insane. So then to contrast to that, you have these tweets that I've shared with Xander here, where the guy who's the head of gaming is just responding to random people. Like one guy said, not good enough. Ryan says, more work to do here on the discoverability side, one step at a time. Another guy who I checked his Twitter, he has like a couple thousand followers. I don't know what he's doing for gaming or streaming, but he outlines a problem he has. And then Ryan literally responds a minute after this guy's tweet and says, oh, that shouldn't be the case. Hit me up next time you see this happen. I will DM you so you can send it to me directly. We'll look into it. Like that's
ridiculous.
Crazy. This is the head of gaming on YouTube, who's just like sometimes it's so comical how interactive this guy is with the chat that I sometimes wonder if the whole title is literally just a ploy and he's really like, he's not the head of gaming. He's just like a community manager that they call the head of gaming so that people like me can say, holy shit, this is nuts.
You know what? This is actually where I have to give a little bit of credit to, I mean, obviously credit to Ryan Wyatt for using this platform, but this is what Twitter does excel at. Yes. And not everybody is like Donald Trump on Twitter or like Kanye West. I know I talk a lot about Kanye West, but Kanye West like an anomaly that also hits a lot of really specific things that I end up talking about. But like in my own experience, I went to follow Ludwig on Twitter because I'm a big fan of Ludwig, and Ludwig's one of the channels I look to for inspiration. And so I went to follow them. Twitter goes, what about these other like 15 other people similar that also constantly interact with Ludwig? We deem these people to be in a circle. So I clicked like one button and I followed 15 other people I've never heard of, but they're all prominent. Now, one person puts out a tweet, and I can't even remember who it was, but they put out a tweet and I got a notification for it because I'm kind of new to Twitter. So like to me, I don't know how often you get notifications, if it's for every tweet from every person or what, but I get a notification. I open it up. I go and I post something, and this person's like, you know, they're a full-time content creator / influencer. I don't even really know who they are, but I know that like they're big, right? And they respond. They like liked and respond to my comment, and I blew my mind because I don't get that level of interaction anywhere else. So this is a little aside, and I'm just talking about Twitter, but Twitter's phenomenal for this. Now, where's the Twitch guy on Twitter? And that brings us right back to the point. Where's the Twitch guy? The Twitch guy's not on Twitter. You know, I don't even know the guy's name. I know Ryan Wyatt's name. I've been streaming on YouTube for 1 day. I knew Ryan Wyatt's name while streaming on Twitch. I streamed on Twitch for 5 months. I don't know the Twitch guy. You know what I mean? What's his name? I don't know. So this is incredible.
Okay.
And when you look at these, I mean, I'm not going to pull it up again on the video there, but just take my word for it. It's like he's responding minute by minute to channels that are probably smaller than mine, and I'm nobody. And he's responding minute by minute to comments that have like no reactions. And so these are not, it's not like PewDiePie is talking to this guy. Like these are nobody. And
totally. Yeah. I mean, there was,
I mean, they're tomorrow's somebody, but like they're nobody today. And Ryan Wyatt is like on it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Sorry, I stole your thunder on this. I'm actually going to go to the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom anyways.
Oh, nice.
And I'm not going to steal your thunder on whatever it is that you're going to talk about, but I'll be around for you to kick it off. And then I'll just like shimmy out.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was just going to say that in Call of Duty world, the current developer that's handling Warzone, it was like an event months ago when they actually responded to an actual like prominent streamer that made a tweet
from Warzone. Like, well, because it's rare, right?
Yeah, because it like never happens. Like there's just lots of other. You can go to the watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the watch. You do your thing. You rock.
Yeah, there's lots of other platforms where you just don't see this interaction, even when there's platforms such as Twitter readily available for these people to create a direct line of communication with the people that care about their product. And it's so bizarre that in Twitch's case that they don't do this, because it's something that you would assume would be essential. And there's other examples of Twitter specifically that I can think of where I've been baffled by the fact that I've been able to talk to someone directly. So one piece of like practical advice that I've been giving people, both me and Xander are Canadian, so our options for internet are pretty much between two providers, TELUS and Shaw. And one practical advice I've been giving to people over the last few years is that I've learned that on Twitter, if I just tag the Shaw community support page, or better yet, just DM them, because that's what I've been doing for a while now. I think the first time I interacted with Shaw, I tagged them in a tweet, and they answered almost immediately. And then from there on, I just have a DM message going where I just consistently, anytime I have any problem with my internet with Shaw, I just start talking to them in the DMs, and some person will just respond to me almost immediately. And I haven't talked on the phone with my internet provider in like 3 years. I just message them on Twitter. And from there, I've done things like change my plan, turn services off and on, troubleshoot.
On Twitter?
Everything. Yeah, on Twitter.
What?
Yeah. It's like instantaneous. Whereas if you call them, you get put on hold, you know? And even if it isn't instantaneous on Twitter, it's like you're not taking up your time by waiting on hold. You just send them a message and then go, okay, well, when they get back to me, they get back to me. But I think in almost every instance, it's like within a max like 5 minutes. I was just saying how
it is true, yeah.
With Twitter, there's certain things I've found where I can directly, like, just get a direct line of communication with people that you just can't in other ways.
Yeah,
I guess
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember the time I got robbed by by some jackass who took my skip? That also, a quick tangent here. The story I'm about to explain contributed also a little bit to the success of my stream in the beginning, because I very quickly built this reputation for being like this really loud, like, ranter, complainer, and I went in because this event I'm about to explain happened to me during a stream. But basically I got robbed where someone stole my Skip the Dishes account. I happened to be streaming, but I was playing like a recap of something that happened. So I bought myself like a 30-minute break. And during that 30-minute break, it popped into my head. I said, you know what? I think it's like the statement day or whatever. Like, you should go pay your credit card bill. So I go and I check. And for 3 days, someone ran wild with skip the dishes payments. And they were getting like filet mignon steaks every night. They were somehow having like 5 meals a day. And so they racked up $1,000 in 3 days. And so I come on stream and I'm just screaming and ranting or whatever. And so that event and the clips that came of that, which are still on the Twitch channel, unfortunately the whole stream is gone, which it wouldn't have been if we were on YouTube. It's another plus for YouTube. I was freaking out and getting into all that. And so going back like 2 hours in this podcast here, or however long it's been. Yeah, almost 2 hours. We were talking about how like my first month was the most successful. Well, this was something that happened that resulted in a lot of clips and a lot of people talking in the chat and a lot of things that are good for Twitch. And so as this leveled off, as I didn't get robbed every day, maybe some of that excitement wore off. And maybe that's got something to do with it too, in addition to all the other stuff we talked about earlier. But back to Twitter, when I was dealing with that situation, trying to get refunded and deal with XYZ, I spent almost 5 days going down the proper communication route with Skip the Dishes to no help whatsoever. Even at one point, I called them. I waited on hold for like 30 minutes. I spoke to someone. They said, I'll transfer you. And they transferred me to a number that rang for like 2 hours. I left my phone on speaker and I just left it. And it just rang for like 2 hours. I hung up. Sorry, I didn't hang up. Left the phone on. Picked up another phone, home phone, like landline. Called Skip the Dishes again. I said, I'm still on the phone being transferred to this department. And they said that department doesn't exist. So this is how bad their customer service was. I go on Twitter and I get responses like within 5 minutes.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
It's just
that's it,
it's
man.
Crazy.
That's the way it is. Twitter, that's what the tool is. Twitter's for talking.
Yeah. Well, it's just it's automated. I mean, they must get notifications immediately, and they have a whole team of people who are dedicated to that. And there's something about like, or at least I think this is an element of it, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think there's something about the element from the business standpoint of view where when you call Skip the Dishes, or when I call Shaw or Telus or whoever, it's private. It's just it's a conversation it's a private phone call between me and this business.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. Whereas when you tag Shaw and say, hey, my internet's been down for 6 hours. I'm paying $120 a month for this. You guys suck. Like, what's going on? You don't have to throw in the you guys suck part, but like,
right.
They have a pretty natural incentive to want to actually, like, it's an opportunity for them to look good.
Yeah.
To swoop in and be like, oh, what's going on? Let me figure it out. Let me help you. What can I do? How can we solve this? Like, what's,
oh yeah.
Send me your details. And then people will see that and be like, oh, look, Shaw responded. Yeah. That's great. Whereas like they don't get any benefit from being the best customer service ever over the phone. I mean, they do in terms of word of mouth, but they don't. It's not on display for the world to see.
Right. Well, it is also in the defense, and I can't believe I'm going to do this, but in the defense of someone like a service provider with just so many customers, and you're on the cutting edge every day of an industry that basically like only consists of you and like a handful of other companies in the country, for every country that you're in. Everyone's coming to you, and you're just naturally going to fuck some things up. And when you fuck something up, you get like 35,000 phone calls in 15 minutes. And so word of mouth, nobody likes their service provider. Like everyone, it's either, oh, they do exactly what I pay them for, which is like not an accomplishment, or they fucking XYZ, right? So that's, a little bit in their defense. It's like not an easy job to do something like that and maintain face or maintain like respect by the customer base. but Twitter gives them that opportunity where like they can handle something so exceptionally well that it gets screenshotted and maybe it gets further used as like part of training in their company, or it's, you know, they submit that to like, maybe there's some fucking JD Power Award bullshit and they try to win a trophy or something, you know, and there's like reasons why they might, because it's public, they might want to help you out further. And so, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And you do absolutely notice the difference. And that's with all companies. Like, all companies will handle something that's public 100 times better than something that's not, which is shitty because that cultivates like a really shitty culture. By basically, you know, it's like the saying goes like the squeaky wheel gets the grease. You know, it's like, the louder and more obnoxious you are about your problem, and the more people that you know, the more attention you can draw to the problem, like the better help you'll get. But it is true. There is truth to it. Just for whoever's listening, and even for you, Nick, I mean, you know this, you're not a shitty person, but like, don't exploit that, you know, like don't be one of those people. Like, we all know those people that just, you know, will abuse that. But I mean, when you've been wronged, don't even hesitate. Go to Twitter, man. Go to Twitter. If you've been like actually wronged, and then you try the proper method of like getting it resolved, and they snub you because of whatever reason, yeah, go to Twitter. Don't even hesitate, man. Go to Twitter. But don't remember though, like, or don't forget. Don't forget that it is public when you do that. It is public for them, but it's also public for you. And you could make your problem, you could make your case in such an obnoxious way that people will even side with like the service provider. And then the service provider maybe doesn't even have to help you. They'll be like, you know what, why don't you go fuck yourself? And then they'll get applause. So like, you know, don't even,
Totally.
you don't want to overdo that. Nick, I think we've got time for one more of your wonderful talking points. Time's going so quick. It's been 2.5 hours. It feels like 20 minutes, but it's been 2.5 hours. And I'm worried that if we upload a 4-hour video, or we have like a 4-hour video sitting on the channel, no one's gonna even want to click on it. They're gonna think it's not action packed enough, you know. So I think we got time for one more, and then we can talk about, you know, getting wine drunk and whatnot after, or whatever it is that we talk about. Oh, on the last stream, by the way, okay, so we were both drinking wine.
Yes.
And this happened to both of us, but the wine lips got so real by the end of it. And I thought I did a good job before I went to bed. I was like, I got to get rid of the wine lips. Nick had like crazy wine lips and I had wine lips. And then the next day, Carly comes over, but she came over like a little early and I was actually still asleep. So she woke me up. She cause she knows, you know, she's got a key, right? So she comes in and kind of wakes me up, and she's like, did you eat Oreos before bed or something? You know, cause my lips were just like all just like covered in this dark, you know? so anyways,
Oreos.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's like, do you eat Oreos or something? Like, what is that? Do you just like smudge, like you just like you suck on a Sharpie, or like what happened? Anyway. Yeah, that was funny. But yeah, Nick, you got one more beautiful talking point for us, and we can
Absolutely.
But
this is a repeat from before, but that's fine. Because that whole thing is deleted.
Sorry, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I just realized though, I have a 2.5-hour recording. We have only been live for an hour and a half. Live. Soft live.
Right.
We're soft live. Yeah. We went for an hour doing a bunch of other BS. So it's actually not as long as I thought it was. But I still think that one good talking point will probably take us home.
Well, we did already, talking about what we just discussed, where we were talking about the new stuff that YouTube added. We did kind of already touch on discoverability on YouTube, which is one of the previous talking points. But I think one thing that we haven't perhaps alluded to as much that we could talk about is the state of Twitch and what we think of it now versus what we thought of it when we first started, like day one, stream one
100%.
versus now.
I think you should start with this one.
I was about to say I'm going to leave you with that and go to the bathroom.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Day 1%. You got the headphones on, right? You'll be
so I can still hear you.
Yeah, you went wireless. Oh, on that note, actually, super quick before I get into this, anything to prevent you from going to the bathroom. I'm going to try out in-ear monitors. They're coming in tomorrow instead of the big boy headphones. Just something
That's
a little
funny you want to do that.
A little slimmer, a little sleeker, just so that
I want to do that too.
You do, hey?
Yeah. Are they wired or wireless?
They are wired, but I can modify them to be wireless.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, you can. So they're detachable at the bud, or like I don't know what you'd call it, but they have a universal connection, and you can replace the wired connection with one that has built-in Bluetooth. Interesting. That's cool. You can make and that goes for any in-ear monitor that uses the same connection standard. So you can convert in-ear monitors to work with Bluetooth. So I'm gonna just go wired because I'm just gonna be sitting within a couple feet of the thing, but yeah, it might be nice to try that. And I'm also gonna go with I spent about $100, which is like not a ton of money, but when you consider the fact that I didn't buy like name brand expensive in-ear monitors, it was all the accessories I got. And I got an upgraded cable so that it doesn't like get all super wrinkly and kinked because people had bad reviews about the cable. Good reviews about the sound quality, but bad about the cable. So I upgraded the cable. I got foam tips so that they're more comfortable in your ears. Anyways, I talked to you all night about the in-ear monitors, but it's just interesting. We were talking about your headphones for a second. Anyways.
Yeah.
In-ear monitors. I'll talk to you all about that later.
Okay.
Yeah, off podcast. Off shift, if you will. But you had asked me, and you didn't switch your microphone, so I can't even confirm if you asked me the right thing, but I believe, or the talking point was, the perceptions of Twitch between day 1 and day, well, in my case, I can actually tell you exactly what day it is for me. I think it's like we're near day 75, except this was my last day on Twitch. But I'm still gonna tell you exactly how many streams it was. So the thought process and the shift in what I thought, or what we thought Twitch was on day 1 versus day. For me, it is day. Please, come on, pop up. 76. So 76 active streams on an average of 5 hours a stream. So 76 streams later, it's 412 hours later. How has the perception of Twitch changed? Well, it's interesting because in the beginning, you think that it's going to work like most things, right? You think that, like with a typical job, the biggest obstacle is getting the job. And then the next obstacle is like, well, do you want to climb the ladder? Do you want to progress within that field or within that job, depending on what it is? Maybe that's management, or maybe that's, going from like a junior to a senior position. And the way you overcome that obstacle is by perfecting your craft and putting in the hours, right? And so you would think that that would be how you get rewarded on Twitch. You would think that, well, you need to do a good job. You need to get your initial viewer base, and then you just build on it by doing the same thing consistently over a set amount of time, just like any other job. And that ends up not really being the case. And it ends up not being the case because, and this is something you find out after 76 live streams, Twitch doesn't care, man. Twitch doesn't help you. They don't help you. And we kind of touched on this early in the stream, maybe even like indirectly, half directly. But it's really like the word is discoverability, right? And this is the thing that you just assume Twitch would be good at because Twitch is the leader in you know,
To be clear, I think I want to say they have about 50% market share of streaming, I think. And then the other, it's like between 50 and 60. And then about half of it is split between Facebook, YouTube, and other various things.
so I had heard that it was 3-1 Twitch to YouTube.
Okay, so maybe it must be closer to 60 then or something.
Yeah.
That's what I thought I'd read. But
Yeah. It's like, you know, they're still definitely the leader. Like if someone thinks of live XYZ, you're either watching the news or you're going on Twitch. That's the industry. It's a household name, Twitch, right? And so you'd think that they would have perfected the discoverability aspect, which is, for those of you who don't know discoverability, it's just the act of getting the viewer to the streamer that they think the viewer will enjoy watching. Like trying to just play Cupid, play matchmaker, just get viewers to streamers, pair them with like-minded interests. You would think Twitch would be great at that. And instead what they decided to do is they said, you know what? We're going to sort everything by popularity. So when you go on Twitch and you're sorting through the games are like the categories on Twitch, which are games most of the time, are organized by popularity. So how many people are watching each category? That's the list. Then when you click on each one, they're going to go, okay, well, within that category, how many people are watching each stream? That's the list. And so if you just think about it, which this is not something you think about on day one. On day one, you're just thinking like, I'm so excited to like talk to a stranger. But
yeah.
after,
and how do I do this?
yeah. And like, what's it going to be like? And when someone shows up, like, how am I going to talk to them? Or, you know, just whatever. You're thinking of a million other things. But after you do, so I did 412 hours on Twitch, in the 76 streams, and you know, eventually what it turns into is like, okay, at what point is Twitch going to understand that I am a serious streamer who streams full time and makes good content and makes specific XYZ, which I don't really make specific content I didn't make specific content over that 412 hours. I really only did for like 2 weeks. But when is Twitch going to understand that this is who I am and this is what I do, and pair me with people that like who I am and what I do? And it just never comes because it's not what they do. So what they've set up, and this is actually going to segue me into something like hilarious here. So what they've set up is they've set up a popularity contest where you got to bring your own audience. You literally have to go to another platform, get super popular somewhere else, and say, check me out behind the scenes on Twitch. And Twitch has solidified themselves as the secondary content. That's what they've done. It's like, that's where you go for the extra shit. Like your favorite YouTube, like you watch Nakey Jakey on YouTube and you love the videos. Well, Nakey Jakey streams on Twitch, you know, once a week, maybe. I'm just making this up. Like I would love to watch one of their streams, by the way, but you know, they stream like once a week behind the scenes. You can go check out this or that. And that's what Twitch is for. And that's what Twitch is solidified, because Twitch will not help you build the YouTube-sized audience for yourself on Twitch alone. So what you're encouraged to do is get as many people to watch you on Twitch as possible via external sources. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, anything that's not Twitch. You want to get those people to come to Twitch, to watch you on Twitch, so that you rank higher, so that more people that are actually on Twitch can even find you, because it's sorted by popularity. So what I did today is I basically said, all right, I found a website where they wanted, let me just make this bigger so you can see what I'm talking about here. I found a website that wanted, let me just send that. Okay. I found a website that wanted $5. And what they did was they came into my stream and they dropped 50 viewers in for $5. I view botted. It's cheating. I did this only at the very end. So you can see here, like, this is legit. This is just me grinding. And then at the last stream, I said, you know what? I just got to know what this is like. And, I didn't stick with it that long. Like, I don't know why it's showing 2 days here. That's just like not true. But we had 50 viewers average show up. They were not real. And I promise you that stream, we were the most discoverable in the 5 months on Twitch. And we did it by breaking TOS. And there was no better way to do it. And quite honestly, if I was going to go back to Twitch, if I was ever going to go back to Twitch, I would do that every day. And that's because that's the way Twitch has set themselves up. They encourage you to do it. You either spend all your time somewhere else until you either love that other place and forget about Twitch, or hate the whole process altogether, or you just pay someone $5 a stream and they'll send a bunch of bots in so that you show up first. So when someone clicks on Overwatch, they actually find you. And then you build a real audience off the bullshit one until you don't need the bullshit one anymore. And that is how Twitch works. So this is a really long, convoluted way to kind of answer your question. But yeah, this is all stuff that I did not know when I started. And if I knew it, I would have never even streamed on Twitch in the first place. I would have still streamed, but I never would have done it on Twitch.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because we had conversations about it midway through our process of streaming, where I remember bringing up some of the concerns that we've come to fully realize now, not because I felt them, but just because I had heard other people talk about them, other YouTubers, and it was usually from the conversation was something along the lines of, YouTube versus Twitch. And both of us went through a phase where we both were like, no, like Twitch is better because X, Y, Z, because Twitch has this, because Twitch has that. But then eventually at similar times, we arrived at the conclusion we have now, where it's like, it just doesn't seem like Twitch is built for the people that are driving the platform. And in addition to it not being built for them, I don't think there's any indication that they like care at all, which I understand that from, I'm not saying like YouTube does care about you, because like big corporations don't. And that's just the truth. But it's just crazy how even from a practical standpoint, they don't, like we talked about earlier, where a top 20 streamer, Asmongold, isn't even getting an offer for a custom contract. Well,
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, and it seems that, like, if I'm remembering correctly, that conversation came up because of people speculating, seems like all these Twitch streamers are leaving YouTube. Like, why? Like, you'd think there would have been this big battle between, YouTube and Twitch for the contract, and then Asmongold, the top 20 Twitch streamers, sitting there saying, well, actually, they didn't even offer me a contract. Like, they haven't even talked to me, which is like crazy.
Well, yeah. And so when you're talking about like, a second ago you said like big corporations like don't care, like YouTube, probably doesn't even care about people like you and I anyways. Well, it doesn't feel that way like it does by Twitch.
Correct.
And like I'm not big on either, okay? So like I've never directly spoken to anybody from either platform, except for when I had that one conversation that I don't think went very well, when I was asking about offboarding the account and whether or not I would be able to like come back as an affiliate in the future if I decided to. And then they told me to get a lawyer. But like, regardless of that, just hearing other experiences and seeing what I see, I don't know like even where Twitch is located. Like I'll find it if I look it up, but I don't even know like anything about Twitch. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that says it all. I don't know anything about Twitch. I don't know who runs it, what their names are. I've never seen them, or heard of anyone having a good experience or good connection with anyone from Twitch. You can go listen to Devin Nash. You've linked me a couple Devin Nash videos, and I've watched many Devin Nash videos since then on my own. Devin Nash is incredible, and their They're essentially in addition to being a streamer, they're you can call them a manager of prominent streamers. And so they make Devin Nash makes a ton of connections between YouTube and brands, partnership deals. They do all kinds of stuff. And Twitch is one of the places that they should contact. And they've said, I've heard them say it. I've heard Devin Nash say it within the last 2 weeks, because they upload like pretty frequently. And so within the last 2 weeks, I've heard them say, like, I've spoken with people from Twitch like under 5 times. And they not only are they prominent, like you'll find them on like the Scuffed podcast with Trainwrecks on Thursdays and stuff, like, and so they'll be sitting there with all the big streamers. XQC will pop in there and Ludwig and whatever. You'll see Devin Nash in with everybody. And he also manages a lot of these streamers. So it's like his experience is equal to like all of theirs put together plus his own. And then he tells you that like less than 5 times or 5 or 6 times or whatever, like a small number. Maybe I'm getting the number wrong, but a surprisingly small number of times has he ever spoken with anyone from Twitch. Whereas with YouTube, you have a direct line of communication if you're my size or smaller. It could be your first day on YouTube. In fact, you might not even have a YouTube account, and you can go ask them a question. And it's pretty likely that if the question is worth anyone's time, you'll get a response. It's incredible. It's an incredible difference. And YouTube is much bigger. It's much more difficult to do that at the size YouTube is. And they do it. And they do it actually like exceptionally well. For their size, I don't know about all of YouTube. Okay, I don't know about all of YouTube, but at least this department, for the size that it is and what it represents for the future of media as a whole, nobody could do a better job. Nobody could do a better job than what he's doing right now. And by he, I mean Ryan. What's his name? Ryan what? Ryan.
I forget.
Ryan Buddy. No, we got to get his name. We can't do this to Ryan. Ryan's such a beast. Ryan Wyatt. Nobody's doing a better job. And I'll flash it one more time on the screen. Like,
Yeah.
Just stuff like this, right?
Twitter handle is @Fwiz. FWIZ.
Yeah, like you see here. When I click on YouTube Gaming, I want to see people that are live, not just a bunch of old streams that are over. And he goes, right now, it's meant to... This is 1 minute later. Right now, it's meant to serve both VOD and live, but we understand that game pages often lead to a higher interest in looking for live content. We've consistently heard this feedback and are talking amongst the team. It's like, oh my God. Like what else do you want to hear? What else do you want to hear? That's an exceptional job. Ryan Wyatt?
Yeah. Chef's kiss.
Well, that was a real smooch.
Yeah, I know it was, but
only Carly gets those. I gave one to Ryan Wyatt. Carly's not going to be happy.
Oh,
Ryan Wyatt. Here's to Ryan Wyatt.
Yeah. Cheers to Ryan Wyatt.
Yeah, cheers.
Sure.
Cheers to Ryan Wyatt. No. There it is. Yeah. All right, man.
I think that's the main difference.
Oh,
those are the main differences.
it's got to be it.
Oh.
I think that might do it for this podcast.
Wrap it up.
Did I get it?
Kill the fly.
I don't see it. It's been 4 days.
I don't know if I'm crazy, but I do a technique where I'm not slapping, where I actually just grab them.
That's crazy.
It works.
That's some
very
Mr.
well with
Miyagi shit.
mosquitoes.
Like, I might as well give you the chopsticks and you just like, that's so nuts, man. Just grab them. Dude, I don't see this fly anymore. I think I got it. Oh. No, it's still here. Fuck me, man. And it's mad. I mean, it's not going to do anything, but it's just like more erratic than normal. Did I use that word properly? I don't know. I think this is it, Nick. I think this is it. This is where we part ways for the evening. Oh, I want to play a song. I don't even know if it's going to come through. Actually, I don't even know if it's gonna come through. This is gonna be. I want to use it. I gotta find a new song maybe for this stream or this podcast. But I got a song I like that feels like outro music.
Okay. I mean, I'm ready for it.
It doesn't anymore.
No.
No,
Okay.
I think the moment's passed. Yeah, I lost the song. This is the song. I'm just gonna play it. I don't think. I think that's it. All right, dude.
Okay. It's been real. It's been nice. Chicken and rice.
It sure has. All right. This was Chewin The Fat with Xander and
PapaFlow.
have a good night, everybody. See you next time. We're doing another one, right?
Like right now?
No.
Yes, of course.
All right.
As long as you want to, I 1,000% want to, yes. And another one after that.
All right.
Even.
And we'll see you guys for it. Later.